back, everybody. This is the Johnny-mar, and I am continuing with Stardew Valley as a Jojo Operative, or member. So tomorrow we're going to get rain all day. That's a good thing, but also a bad thing. We don't have a ton of crops so far, so it's not really going to help us that much in terms of our chores. At least the spirits are in good humor today. But it does mean it's going to be harder to find some of the residents we're going to be trying to find to talk to finish off that introductory quest. And yes, we will be planning to upgrade our backpack at some point from Pierre's General Store. At least once, maybe both upgrades. Now in each of my episodes going forward, I am going to do what I'm going to call a moment of mindfulness. As we get a letter from Willie asking us to come check him out down at the beach, where I will do essentially a quiet time of chores, where you can rest, relax, and sort of just take in what's happening on the farm. So we'll start off with that on this particular episode by watering the crops. And that'll be our moment of mindfulness in this particular episode. After which we'll do a few other things and then continue onward. And that has been your moment of mindfulness for this particular episode. Although we didn't get through all of the crops. But not too bad. Now it's not always going to be watering the crops. Sometimes it'll be clearing stuff around the farm. Sometimes it'll be fishing. Sometimes it'll be going through the mines. It'll be various tasks that we'll be engaging in while we take on this game. And try to continue towards our ultimate goals, which are again to finish off the Jojo community development projects, as well as marry Haley in our first year and max her out in terms of her affection, and also get to the bottom of the mine. We have a dilapidated building over here. That is the greenhouse. That is one of the development projects that we'll be eventually unlocking. And that is an awesome ability for us to use, since we will be able to plant any crops from any season all year long. Otherwise, you are limited to what crops you can plant in each season. So spring crops, as you might expect, can only be planted in spring, and so on and so forth. But in the greenhouse, you can plant them anytime you want. That was interesting because I was playing a Harvest Moon game. I think it was maybe Friends of Mineral Town on the Game Boy Advance, and they called it a hothouse, or maybe it was Back to Nature. One of the two. And I was thrown off by that because obviously I've never heard of it as a hothouse before. I wonder if that's more of a literal Japanese translation. Luckily we haven't lost any of our plants yet to crows, but that is coming. I think you're protected from it on the first day, going into the second day. But starting with day 3, I would assume we're going to have the ability for crows to attack us. Well, not us, but our plants, and steal our seeds. Until we get our first supply of parsnips, in which case we will then be able to craft scarecrows. And that will keep crows away from our precious, precious crops. I emptied out my inventory so that I can maximize any forage I might find while running around. Similar to the first day, I'm going to try to show off most of this day in terms of what I'm doing. Talking to people, foraging, so on and so forth. We'll also, at some point, be doing a little bit of fishing too. But going forward, ooh, lots of spring onions to pick up. I will be cutting out certain repetitive tasks that I'm doing over and over again, kind of showing you highlights of them, and focusing more on kind of the key things we're currently working towards. Whether that's certain affinity levels with certain people in town, or certain tasks on our farm, or whatever it might be that we're currently doing. So down here in Cindersnap Forest, I believe that's its name, you have lots of trees that you can cut down. We're going to focus more so on our own farm and deal with cleaning that out before we head down into Cindersnap. But eventually we will come down into this area and start maliciously, in some ways I guess, clear cutting everything in front of us so that we can get as much wood as we possibly can. Now, we cannot enter Haley's room yet until we are better friends with her. I think we need at least 2 hearts worth of affinity with her. During spring, on Mondays, she goes down by the river in Cindersnap, and then the rest of the days, as long as it's not raining, I believe she goes up by the community center near the jungle gym. Here we have a little bit of a cutscene. And this is Willie, smoking on a pipe. Not a corncob pipe, but a pipe nonetheless. It's something you don't see in a lot of games anymore, is smoking. So he is a fisherman who has been out on the sea. You got a big haul. Well, that's good for you. You're going to buy yourself a new rod. Awesome. And what are you going to do with that old rod? Are you going to give it to us? Yes. We are not above hand-me-downs. We will take it. I'm not a huge fisherman when it comes to these games, but I do some of it. It's a good way to pick up some extra money here and there. And especially if you're collecting the bundles for the community center, you are only going to be able to finish those bundles by fishing. A lot. And yes, I have caught the legendary fish in my previous playthroughs, but not in this playthrough. We're not going to be focusing on fishing really that much. I'll do it every once in a while. But Willie is also important for opening up an area that was added in the later patches of the game, which is an additional island. Now, we're not going to be doing a ton with that, because it's a little bit outside of the scope of what I'm planning to do in this playthrough. But I might actually, at some point, access it, and maybe I'll come back and do a bonus episode for this series after I'm done with the main series, showcasing that island. But let's show off fishing. So you have to hold down the action button to get the strength of your cast. You want to max cast, and then you have to wait for the hit marker. And there'll be a little sound effect that you can actually choose what you want to hear for that sound effect. And then once the hit comes up, you press the action button again, and that will start up the fishing gauge. And you can hold down the button to make it go up, release the button to make your little green area go down. I find tapping it gives you a lot more control over how quickly it rises and falls, and tends to work a lot better for me than holding it down. Now, that fish was pretty easy, but as you get better at fishing, that green area will get bigger and bigger, and the fish actually will get harder and harder to catch. You're going to dart around a lot more on the screen, and it's going to be harder to keep them in your green range for catching them. Now, Willie, as you might expect, sells quite a bit of fish-related merchandise, including a training rod, which can actually be pretty helpful. It limits the fish that you're able to catch, but it does allow you to gather experience relatively quickly, especially if you're not as good or don't feel as confident in the fishing minigame. Now, the beach is also a great place to pick up forage, and a lot of this forage is actually useful once we unlock it for making different types of fertilizer. So this is Elliot. He is an aspiring author who lives on the beach in a little cabin. He has some pretty intense hair there. Long, beautiful locks, I guess you could say. And he has a rather interesting way with words. Quite the marvelous man. Now we do have quite a few other people to still talk to, and we have a little bit of money in our pocket that we want to buy more seeds with. And of course, we want to still look for forage. Priority is finding daffodils, but any forage is good for us at this point. This dapper man here is Gunther. He is the curator of this particular museum. And he notes that the previous one made off with the entire collection. So he needs help trying to remedy that. And so what you can do is find different types of artifacts throughout the game at artifact dig spots, both in the mines, as well as throughout the town, where you will find what look like worms or, you know, little grass, whatever they are. Most people call them wiggly worms. And this book tells us a little bit about farming, seasonal crops, fruit trees, as well as fertilizer. So you should always bring your hoe with you when you walk around town and are foraging, because then you may find some wiggly worms and be able to dig up some books for the library or some artifacts. Hello, Penny. You have some pretty stunning eyes. Quite the green color. And Jazz is the shyest of them all. So it's going to take a while for us to get to a point with Jazz, if we choose to get there, where she'll actually talk to us. This is Clint, the blacksmith. He has an interesting tale to tell in this game. And then he sells, of course, blacksmith-related stuff, like ores, and also coal. And then he can upgrade your tools, which is pretty important to do if you want to progress in this game, especially the watering can, if you're going the crop route like I am. Now, if you're not going the crop route, if you're going to raise animals, or fish, or mine mostly, then Cliff becomes less important. Although you're still going to have to probably, let's check the trash here, upgrade a lot of your tools, such as the pickaxe and the axe, regardless of what you're focusing on. Let's buy some more parsnips for our farm. And Pam really does not want us going in her trailer. That is quite the face, Pam. Calm down there. Join us. We'll be back, Morris. You have to start offering your membership, and we have to acquire 5,000 gold before we can become a member. You're not in a good mood. What, were you shopping at Pierre's? Oh, snap. No, you weren't, because Pierre's your father, and I would imagine you stay away from there if possible. Here we have an old man named George. He is quite the curmudgeon. Him and his wife, Evelyn, live in this house with their grandson that we will meet a little bit later. I was hoping they'd all be in here so I could just talk to all of them. And then in the Stardrop Saloon, you will find the proprietor, who is named Gus. So this is actually a good place to come most nights later in the day, simply because a lot of the residents of Stardew Valley and Pelican Town like to come to the saloon at night. They sell different types of food, and they also have different recipes that you can acquire, which allows you to make different types of dishes. Once you have access to a kitchen in your house, that requires an upgrade to your basic house. Now, coffee is actually a really good recipe. At some point, we will develop the ability to make coffee, and that's good because it actually increases your movement speed for a short period of time. Oh, and we're just too late to go into the medical facility. I was hoping we'd be able to meet Harvey today. I guess we'll have to try tomorrow. Alright, any forage up here? Well, we have Haley. Thank you. I think you said that last time, too. They are not made of plastic. I do not have a gift for you today, unfortunately. So we'll have to wait till another day this week. Or maybe not. Here's a daffodil. I guess I do have a gift for you, Haley. And that means you also get the gift of another terrible pickup line. So are you ready? Haley, if you were a fruit, you would be a fine apple. Thank you. Thank you. That is the end of our terrible pickup lines for this week. Surprisingly, we have not reached a heart yet, but it is only the second day with Haley, even with 2 gifts. Now, if those daffodils had been silver or gold quality, it's entirely possible we might have gotten up to, hey, another daffodil. At least 1 heart so far. Now, there is a festival coming up that you want to try to get Haley or anybody in the game as high as possible if you want to take part in that festival. And usually with the gifts, and especially because her birthday is coming up, and if you give her a liked gift on her birthday, it'll really increase her affinity. You will get her to the point where she will be willing to dance with you at that festival. I think you have to have 4 total hearts in order to have her accept the dance proposal. Alright, so they are still working on that rock up there. We still do not have access to the mines, but soon we will be able to go in there. No, I haven't. Not today, Linus. That's not really something I would do. Unless you were openly bad-mouthing Joja, I guess. Then perhaps I would give you some stern words of warning. But that's pretty much all we wanted to do. I guess we have a little bit of energy left, so we can still do a little bit more in terms of chores. And we do have some more stuff to plant as well. So let's get these seeds in the ground. They're not going to help us in our pocket. We'll plant all 10, and then we'll water them. Making fairly good progress here. We might want to try to find a little bit more of wild seeds. Simply because we want as many seeds in the ground as possible during the early part of the game. Now that's important throughout the game if you're going to be going this route of farming. But this is especially an important time because in order to get better seeds, we need as much money as possible. And there's another festival coming up, the first festival, that's very important because it's the only place that you can purchase strawberry seeds. And those are the best spring seeds in the game. Now, unfortunately, because you get them so late during the first spring, you can only get 2 harvests out of them. I think it's 2. I think it's intentionally designed to only give you 2. And then the 3rd harvest is like a day late, since Stardew uses a 28-day month instead of a 30-day month. So we're going to be using a lot of those to try to maximize our profits. And we'll always replant our seeds here so that we get more wood in the future. But we also want to save some of those seeds for once we do get... We have a little bit of fatigue left. Let's use that up. And we got a geode. Nice. We'll have to take that to Clint, or the local blacksmith, as it says here, for some reason. Could have just said Clint. And then he will break that open, and we'll get an item. Let's get off our tools so we don't accidentally swing something. You can actually use the scythe without using any energy. But I think we have a little bit of time left, so we can't really do anything more in terms of physical activity. But I think we could still do a little bit more socializing, because we still have quite a few people to meet. So I think we'll head over to the saloon and see if we can find a few more people. I would imagine Emily is going to be there, and maybe Harvey as well. Not some of these other people. They don't really go to the saloon much. Alright, so here's the saloon. Not too busy tonight. Yes, Clint, we will be using your services quite a bit throughout this playthrough. Shane, you're a jerk. And you're already a member of Joja, so you're stuck with them for the rest of your life. And here is Emily, who we haven't talked to yet. She is a waitress here at the saloon. I might like it here. Stop by the saloon, it's where I work. Really? It's where you work, huh? Well, that's good to know. Thanks for letting me know. Alright, so we're back, and we're going to call it a day. Day 2 of spring has been completed. Not quite as profitable. We didn't get as much forage. But we did talk to quite a few people and got some more seeds into the ground. And you'll notice there is no music on rainy days. Just the sound of the pitter-patter of rain on the ground and on your roof. It's going to be sunny tomorrow, and the spirits are not necessarily in a great mood today. That's not good. Because you'll notice we lost a plant. The crow must have grabbed it. No, sometimes the crows show up, sometimes they don't. I think it's more likely that the crow animation shows when you are playing consecutive days in a row in one playset. They did quite a bit of clearing there on the farm, and now we're going to head out and do some foraging. But when you're not doing consecutive days, if you turn off the console, I believe, then the animation is less likely to show. And since I'm actually recording this second day for this episode at a later point than the first day, I think it didn't show the animation. We have some wiggly worms. And we got a lost book. The library's collection has been expanded. Nice. We still do not have access to the mine. We could go fishing, but I do want to save my energy for fishing a little bit later. We'll go fishing tonight, after we've run around for a while and talked to as many people as we can. We're going to see if we can finish off the introductory quest today and talk to everybody we still need to. Now, the one person I'm probably not going to get to talk to is Caroline, Pierre's wife. Simply because she's pretty hard to find on Wednesdays, especially if it's raining, because the Pierre's General Store is closed. And I don't know what her schedule is like during the spring on rainy days. I would assume she doesn't leave her house, so we can't actually get in there. Now I need to talk to Maru there, but I don't know if she comes out or if she's just going to stay in her room. Looks like she's going to stay in her room. Sometimes people will come out around noon or 1 or 2. We're not going to hang out there and just wait for her to come out, because there's no guarantee she will, and we have other stuff to do. Hopefully we will find some more forage, specifically some better quality daffodils. We want a gold quality daffodil for Haley's birthday. That is very important for us in terms of affinity. And maybe the bulletin board will have a task for us. Doesn't look like it. Now we need to talk to Harvey, but he is not here right now, which is interesting. I like this ad here. That's a lot of side effects. And I'm not sure 1 in 500 is really that rare. Disintegration of bones. Nice. I guess you weigh the pros and cons, right? But it's, of course, making fun of pharmacology in our society. And the fact that a lot of medicines do have side effects. But Harvey's not over there, which isn't surprising because it is raining. And people generally don't like to stand outside in the rain. We do still need to talk to Haley. She does stay in her room for much of the day on rainy days, but she does come out for a little while in the afternoon and then in the evening. Now obviously, once we get her to at least 2 hearts, that won't be an issue because we'll be able to go into her room and find her wherever she tries to hide. But she doesn't like much about this town except the beach. Well, it is a nice beach, actually. I will give it that. And we do need to talk to Jody as well. So she's hanging out here with her... I'm just going to jump on the couch there. She's hanging out with her kids. It is a tough choice. Playing with bugs can be fun, but getting dirty and getting yelled at is not so fun. You need a new song idea, huh? Well, these are some interesting options. I mean, the last option is kind of what comes to mind, but I'll refrain. I'm not that bad of a guy, even though I'm trying to help Joja. So how about farming, mining, and chopping wood, what I do? Glad to help. Join us. Hello, Jody. Nice to meet you, too. Alright. Well, we are closing in on all of the people we need to talk to. We still need to talk to Marnie over here at the stables. And then I don't think we're going to be able to talk to Caroline or Maru today. But that's okay. Let's talk to Marnie. Marnie's important if there's one particular item you want to get a little bit later, but we'll get into that more a little bit as we get to that point. But she's also important if you're going to raise animals. Alright, so I did some foraging down in the forest, and now we're going to head over to the beach and see if there's anything over there. And then the last thing we'll do is we'll head back up towards the Joja Mart, and we'll buy a little bit more seeds. Now there is something on the beach that we're going to need wood for, and that is a little platform, a bridge, to allow you to access the other part of the beach, which is the eastern half. It doesn't look like we have any forage, unfortunately, on the beach, so a waste of time. But you need 300 pieces of wood to fix this bridge. Now we will be unlocking that because a lot of forage does like to spawn on that eastern side, which forage is randomly generated at the creation of each day. On each slot there's a chance within town and throughout the area that a forage might spawn, but sometimes it ends up spawning over on that other side of the beach, and then you can't access it unless you fix the bridge. So yes, if you get animals, you're going to want to pet them, let them go outside, and keep them out of the rain. But we're not going to be doing much ranching in this particular playthrough. Again, mainly because... crud. Well, we missed Clint for today. But mainly because it just is not very profitable in the short term. Now, it can be profitable in the long term, especially with pigs. And so I've done playthroughs where I have a lot of pigs, and I am basically a truffle rancher, and bringing in a lot of money each day on truffles. But that takes a long time to get the money to buy pigs and set all that up. And we just don't have that ability to get those funds very quickly during year one. Hello, Evelyn. Thank you for the welcome. I don't know if I feel comfortable calling you Granny. I might get too attached to you. You haven't told me that Alex is your grandson. Do you know where Alex is? Oh, there he is. So Alex is a teenager. He is one of the romance options in this game, along with Shane, and quite a few other people. basically all of the young adults, including Harvey. Hello, Harvey. You are the local doctor, and you probably should shave that mustache. I'm not sure you're pulling it off. Alright, so all we have to do now is head back and plant these 5 seeds that we have, and then we will finish off the day with a little bit of fishing. And I will fish down in Cindersnap Forest, in the lake. I'm not going to have a ton of energy to do fishing. I suppose I could bring some spring onions with me, but basically it's kind of late as well. But there, everything's nice and evened out, and I'm sure no crows will come tomorrow and eat any of my seeds. Alright, let's drop some stuff off, and we will do a little bit of fishing. See if we can catch anything. Not much available in the lake. A few fish. South of here, in the river, you can actually catch one of the legendaries. Driftwood. That's a trash item. Although it is a liked item for Leia, if you want to give it to her as a gift, because she is a sculptor. Sometimes the RNG seaweed, actually green algae, does not give you a lot of fish, and you just get a lot of trash items over and over again, although I don't think the algae is a trash item. And you actually can use it for a few things, including cooking. Can we actually get a fish? That would be nice. Thank you. Can we get a perfect? We did! Too bad it wasn't a max cast. Getting a perfect, and also with a max cast, significantly increases your chances of getting a higher quality fish. Oh. But I think that is all we're going to be able to do for our energy level and for our time today. Alright, so that'll be it for today. A couple more days in the books. We have a few more people to meet. And then tomorrow we will see if any crows steal any of our seeds. So thank you for watching, viewers. I hope you enjoyed this episode as we continue onward as a Joja member here in Stardew Valley. We have a few immediate things we're trying to do. Otherwise, we will get back to it in my next episode. Thanks for the continued support, and I'll see y'all next time. So long. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please press like and leave a comment below. Please also subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell. See you next time.